In this video, we will go over creating systemd timers to run shell scripts. A bit of housekeeping before going forward. I am purposely ignoring cron here. While it does many of the same things as a systemd timer, cron is not the subject of this video. I also want to stress there are many ways in which to write systemd timer files and many options that can be used for different scripting purposes. In this guide, I'm going over what I hope is the simplest and most efficient use case to get shell scripts running at timed intervals. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will be discussing using the oneshot type. For detailed information as to why I prefer this method, I have linked a great blog post that goes over the differences between the oneshot and simple type for timer files. There are other types available for timers as well, such as exec, forking, dbus, notify, and idle. For this video, I won't get into the nitty-gritty details of the differences between these. For a deep dive, the Debian manpage linked in the description should help. With all that said, let's get started. Today we're using a fresh install of Manjaro XFCE edition version 5.10. I've installed Code OSS and increased the font size for this application as well as in the terminal to make things easier for the viewer to read. My username is test on this machine. For the first example, we'll update a text file with the time and date at 30-second intervals. In our Documents folder, let's make another folder to contain our files. I'll just call this timer test. So open terminal, type mkdir ~documents/timer test. After this, we'll cd into the folder. Now we just need to make our files. Linux has a cool utility called touch, which can make blank files. So we'll use that. And what we're going to do is do touch testfile.txt, timer.sh, file update.service, and file update.timer. Now this has created all the blank files we will edit. Let's go ahead and edit the script file first. I'm using code here, but you can use a text editor or anything else you'd like. We'll tell the system to use bash with the shebang command. That's $!! /bin/bash. If you aren't using bash, you could always do this with /bin/sh or /user/bin/env or whatever other shell you'd like. You know the drill. Comment and argue about it down below. Next up, we'll create a variable for our time format. Time equals $, and then we're going to put the actual command, which will be date plus %m, which will put your month value. We'll do a / then %d, which will do your day. Another / and then %y, which will do our year. Then a minus sign just to separate, and then a % symbol and the capital T, which will do 24-hour time. Now this will use the date command to do a month, day, year format, followed by the current time and 24-hour format. The last line will update our testfile.txt with a new line and then this variable. So we're going to do printf, and then single quote, /n, which will just give us a new line. So every time it goes to put the variable information in, it'll do a new line, so it'll always go down one line. And then we're just going to do the $ and time, which will tell it to use the variable. And then two greater than symbols or arrows pointing to the right, and a space, testfile.txt. That's our test file that we've got built before. And we'll just save the file and exit. Let's go ahead and give the file executable permissions. We'll do that with chmod +x timer.sh. After this, we just need to test to make sure everything's working. So we'll do a /timer.sh, just make sure that the file actually works properly. Now if we open the test file, you should see the date and time in the file. And there it is. Moving on, we'll close out of this file. Let's begin writing our .service file, which will be used to initiate the shell script. Since we're going to be using a .timer file, there is no need for a unit field or description in the service file. So let's move right to the service field. We're going to type bracket service, just a capital S. Next, we'll need to tell systemd our working directory for the script. Note this is because we're using a directory that is not in the system path. So we're going to say working directory equals home slash. Now my username is test on this machine, so that's why it says test, but it'll be your username if you're doing this. Then documents, and then timer test, which is the folder that we put everything in, and then another slash. For our purpose, we're going to be using oneshot. So let's just input type equals oneshot. On the next line, we need to tell the service what file to run. We use the exec start command for this. Now you could use a different shell here, but I like to use default to bash, since that should be installed on any base system. If you have a different shell like dash or remove bash for whatever reason, just edit this next bit of code. And again, if you want to argue about it, the comments are open. So we'll do exec start equals slash bin slash bash, then a space, and then we're going to put slash home test, which is just my username again, documents. Basically, we're just going to the same folder. And then timer test, and then we're going to do timer.sh. So it'll just run that script. Now keep in mind the directories should be exact. Below this, we'll add the install section. We'll just do bracket install, and then we just need to do multi-user.target, which works for our purposes. So let's set that here. We'll do wanted by equals multi-user.target. Now we can just save and close out of the file update.service. Now let's open up the file update.timer file and edit this. In this file, we want to implement a unit section. So all capital letters or bracket unit. Then description. You can put whatever you want here. What I like to do, I'll just make it something that's something relevant to what we're doing. So in this case, we'll do timer for the file update.service. Next, we'll input the timer field. So bracket timer with a capital T. In this case, I want to run every 30 seconds, just so we can see it working. So I need to set 2 calendar entries. So on calendar equals, I'm going to do a star dash star dash star space star colon star colon 00. Now what that's doing is this will run the service every day, every month, every year, every hour, every minute, every 00 second. That's what that means. Now I'm just going to go ahead and copy that, paste it, and we're going to change the 00 to 30. Now what that'll do is now it'll run every day, every month, every year, every hour, every minute, every 30 second. Now, generally the calendar timer only has an accuracy of 1 minute. So to get it to do seconds, we got to add this line. Accuracy sec equals 1s. Finally, let's tell it what service file to run. Say unit equals file update.service. And for the final section on this, we do install with a capital I inside of brackets, and then wanted by equals timers.target. All right, so now we just save and exit. We'll now copy our 2 systemd files over the etc systemd system folder using the cp command. So make sure we're in the right folder. Now this needs to be done with sudo since we're pushing files to a non-user directory. So it's going to be sudo cp file, if I could type, file update dot star to etc systemd system. I'm just going to do an ls to make sure it showed up. And our files are in the right folder. After this, we just need to reload the daemon. So we do sudo systemctl daemon reload. This will initialize the files into systemd. Next, we'll start the timer service by doing sudo systemctl start file update.timer. So let's go ahead and also just double check that the timer is actually running. We can do that with sudo systemctl list-timers. If we look, we can see the file update.timer is running right there. When you run that, you can just hit Q to exit that little window. So we should see that the test file has been updated, so we'll just double check it. Yeah, as you can see, at the 30-second mark and the 0-second mark, it updates. So every minute it's going to update, or every 30 seconds it'll update. So after confirming this is working, let's go ahead and stop the service and remove the files we pushed. So in order to stop the service, we'll just do sudo systemctl stop file update.timer. Next, we'll just remove the files from the systemd folder just to clean things up. Sudo rm etc systemd system file update.star. Now let's build a second timer file where we run two different shell scripts using the same service. To save some time, we can build off the files we used before. So we can cp file update.timer to file update2.timer. And then we'll do that same with the service. So cp file update.service space file update2.service. Then cp timer.sh to timer1.sh. And then cp timer.sh to timer2.sh. Let's go ahead and edit the shell files first. In the timer1.sh file, we'll go ahead and edit the printf line. After the /n, which creates a new line character, let's add the text timer1 : space. This will add the text timer1 : in front of the time listed in the text file, allowing us to identify which file has made the change. So we're going to save that, close out, and let's go ahead and edit the second one. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change the n so that after the n it says timer2 : space. And then we'll save and exit. Let's go ahead and just make sure these have executable permissions. So chmod +x star.sh. And now they have executable permissions. Once that's done, let's edit the file update2.service file. First, we're going to edit the exec start line to initiate the timer1.sh file. So all we're doing is changing that to timer1. Now we're just going to copy that exec start, paste it below. We're going to change this to 2. So now it'll initiate the first timer and then the second timer. It does them almost instantly in this particular case, but you can chain multiple shell files same time, and with oneshot, it'll do them in a row. So that'll allow you to run one and then another and another. If you were running simple, then it would try and run them all at the same time, which could cause issues in some cases. So we'll just save and exit out of that. And then we're going to go ahead and open up file update2.timer. And we're going to change it, say file update2.service. And then the unit will say file update2.service. And then we'll save out and close out. Next up is just copying the service and timer files over the etc systemd system folder, just like we did the last time. So we'll do cp file update2.star etc systemd system. Whoops. Here's a trick. You can do sudo exclamation mark to redo your command, and it'll just ask for your password. And let's just make sure the files are in there. We did it all right. And there's the 2 files. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to reload the daemon. Everything worked there. Now we're just going to start the daemon and see if this is working for us. So we'll do sudo systemctl start file update 2.timer. We'll just do a sudo systemctl list timers just to make sure the timers are running. It hasn't run yet, so it is 0 seconds and 30 seconds, so we just have to wait a few. And it looks like it ran. So let's take a look at our test file and see if it updated. And now you can see that it has updated here. Up. And so it's telling you it's externally modified. And as you can see, it'll say timer 1 is 0 seconds, timer 2 0 seconds, timer 1, timer 2. So it's almost instant because you're just updating a text file. But we know now that it is working correctly. Okay, so now we can turn off the service and delete the files so they aren't stuck running and we forget about them. Sudo systemctl stop file update.timer. File update 2.timer. Then sudo rm etc systemd system file update 2.star. Okay, those are all removed. Now we've made 2 systemd timer files, one initiating a single shell script and the other running 2 in sequence. Hopefully this is enough information to get you started on automating your tasks in Linux going forward. I have added this section after making the video to add some clarity. Here are some systemd commands to help you get started. Systemctl start .service or .timer file will turn your item on. Systemctl stop .service or .timer file will turn your item off. Systemctl enable .service or .timer file will set a symlink to run the service permanently. Systemctl disable .service or .timer file will remove the symlink for the service. Systemctl status .service or .timer file will give you detailed status information. Systemctl list-timers will give you a list of all of the system timers running. These notes are also added to the description. Finally, if you would like to get the files, you can access my GitHub linked in the description. Until next time.